Beautiful. Okay, great. Thank you guys, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share with you. My name is Dr. Zach Gower. I'm a chiropractor in Long Beach, New York. My practice is called Ruach Chiropractic. And the reason that I'm here today is because I have a big mission. I want to help the community of Long Beach, Oceanside, Long Island, New York. I want to help the community be healthier. And I want to help each and every one of you on this call to not only give you the most value and give you the most life-changing information that you've possibly heard and that can save your life and change it, and also for the people in your life. But I want to also teach you how to live a healthier life, and I hope to just make this a difference in your life. And, you know, we're living in a crazy time right now. You know, you were talking about earlier about the pandemic, and, you know, the reality is that, you know, even though we live in America and it's one of the wealthiest free countries in the world, the truth is that we have a really big problem with our healthcare system. You know, we might be one of the wealthiest countries, but we rank, I believe it's like 47th in the world in our health. You know, America takes some of most of the world's drugs in the world, and most people, you know, over the age of 60 are on more than 10 medications. And it's always because of a lifestyle. You know, we lead a lifestyle that leads us to chronic diseases. So I'm going to get into a lot of that stuff today, and how inflammation plays a huge role in how that affects our health and our lifestyle. So what I'm going to be talking about today is basically what really causes inflammation, the types of inflammation, as well as lifestyle changes that you can make today to live a healthy and happier life. And my goal is to give you resources and an opportunity. I believe that everybody should have the ability to check how their body is functioning, and check, you know, if you have inflammation or not, and what we can do about it naturally to help you, you know, create a better, healthier lifestyle. So I'm going to at the end, I'm going to talk more about this, but the whole goal is not to just educate you, but to help create action steps in your life to make this accessible for you, that everybody can get their body checked and realize and see exactly what's going on with their health. And, you know, if your body's in a state of inflammation, what you can do to change that. So let's get started. All right. So inflammation is the silent epidemic of the modern human race. All right, so are you swollen? Basically, a lot of people in our country, we're overweight, and obesity is a big sign of inflammation in the body, and that creates a lot of disease in cells and cellular processes. So there's two different types. Before I say this, who here has suffered from inflammation, any kind of inflammation?
Definitely.
Okay, great. And what brought you guys to this workshop? Just curious to learn. Is there anything?
Looking for the things that you said you were going to explain, the changes in lifestyle to help maybe get rid of some of the inflammation, the water retention.
Same
Perfect.
Here. Yeah,
All
just
right.
some like natural remedies that I could use to change up my lifestyle a little bit.
Perfect. Okay, you got it. Thanks for sharing. You know, you guys, I really want to applaud and commend you guys, because the best way to get something out of it is participation. So just the fact that you guys are going to participate is going to make the workshop so much more meaningful. And also just showing up. You know, showing up is a huge part of there's so many other people that need this information, but you guys chose to stop what you're doing on a Tuesday afternoon and come and join this talk. And so I really believe it's going to help you so much, going to produce a lot of fruit for you. So I really commend you and applaud you for showing up today, because I know that it's going to really give you some good information that will change your life. So two types of information, right? There's acute, which is basically when you hurt yourself, okay? When you sprain an ankle or you fall down and you have some type of injury, that's an acute type of inflammation, and that's going to be very painful. It's going to be basically you're going to see the signs of it. And there's also another type of inflammation that's insidious, or you don't really know that it's there. It's painless and it's silent. And that's chronic inflammation. So there's acute and then there's chronic. Chronic means that it's been there for longer than a few weeks and to years and years. And chronic inflammation is a type of inflammation that causes disease processes. So chronic inflammation attacks the cells on a cellular level. It starts to degenerate the cells, causing a lot of stress. And basically the cells aren't in a healthy state that they can't work the way they're supposed to. So inflammation, chronic inflammation, what does that look like? Basically 5 out of 6 people in America are suffering and dying from either heart disease, stroke, cancers. And so why this information is so relevant and important is because I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen to the leaders in my community, the families, the moms, the dads. I want people to be around to live life as long as possible. And according to research, most people in our country are languishing, basically meaning that languishing is like you're not really living to your fullest potential. You're not really thriving in full health. And so I want people to live the best life possible. And a lot of people are dying from heart disease, high cholesterol, blood pressure, strokes. And that's a type of inflammation that's in the cardiac system or the respiratory system as well. Mood disorders, depression, anxiety. There's inflammation that causes, inflammation in the cells as well as the brain. And that's going to cause mood depressions and anxiety, as well as long-term depression of inflammation of the brain. That's going to cause degenerative processes like Alzheimer's. If you're senile or not, if you're problems with your memory, those are neural imbalances. Obesity, diabetes, cancer. This is inflammation systemically in the body that is basically going to cause nerve degeneration. One of the things of diabetes is your pancreas can't control your blood sugar anymore. And so basically the body is out of balance, it's out of rhythm, and long-term that's causing vision problems. The eyes are breaking down. It's causing problems called peripheral neuropathy. And basically that's problems in the distal limbs or the fingers or hands and the feet and toes, problems with the nerve and the blood circulation, causing those cells to break down over time. Joint pain, swelling, arthritis. We talked about this. Basically, long-term, this is, arthritic changes and arthritis and swelling. Arthritis is just inflammation in the joints. Basically, long-term, that's what we, cause arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, swelling. Inflammation, basically, in the allergies, in the chest, the lungs, asthma, eczema, acne of the skin, expelling, waste chemicals, as well as poor recovery, healing, and immune response. So anytime your body's in an inflamed state, it's not going to be able to have healthy immunity. It's not going to be able to, fight off disease processes, and it's going to be in a chronic state of stress. So what we saw with the pandemic was a lot of people that unfortunately had major health issues and died was because their body was in such a state of inflammation that when they had a pathogen attack them or a virus, basically their body didn't have enough strength and adaptability to fight off the infection, the virus, and they couldn't produce a state of health. And so long-term inflammation is going to cause the body to be in a state of dis-ease or lack of function, and it's not going to be able to have healthy processes over time. So a big cause of inflammation is basically there's something in your system called omega-6s and omega-3s. So there are different kinds of fats in our body. We have healthy fats, we have cholesterol, we have proteins, right? And this makes up the cells of our body. And omega-6s are found in certain foods that I'll go over, and omega-3s are found in different foods. And we need a healthy ratio of these. And when the ratio is out of balance, it should be either a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 omega-6 to omega-3 balance. And when it's out of balance, it's basically going to cause a lot of problems in our body. And America is notorious for this. when the brain is out of balance from omega-6s to omega-3s, it's going to cause the brain to not function the way it's supposed to. So yeah, modern lifestyle today, it could be 10 to 1 or 20 to 1. And that is from major increases from omega-6s and decreases in omega-3s. That has a lot to do with our nutritional intake and how we're eating. And just an interesting fact that a lot of the people that are on psychotropic medications and experiencing violent disorders, or a lot of these episodes that you hear with like Columbine, for instance, or people doing, mass shootings and stuff like that, is because the ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s in their brain is so off that it causes their brain to be out of balance and to literally go crazy. And that's the inflammation process taking place in the body. So let's talk about omega-3s. So basically, they're healthy fats and they're part of the cell wall. This is a picture right here of the cell wall of our cells. And the health of our body and our cells is indicated from the environment that it's in, okay? So we are our cells collectively. If you look at the, stars in the universe, let's say, right? That makes up the galaxy, right? And the same thing with our cells, it's making up our body collectively. So we look like people, but as you break us, we're broken down to body parts and organs and tissues, it all comes down to the makeup of the cell. Now, tissues are made of cells and cells are made of fat, right? The fat is part of the outside of the cell wall, okay? And the protein is the doors and the windows and the locks and the keys, letting nutrients in and out. And basically omega-3s allow healthy nutrients to come into the cell and out of the cell. So if we don't have the right ratio and the right omega-3s in our body, our cells aren't going to be able to get the right nutrients in and the right fluids and waste products out, and starts to mess us up biochemically. Okay. All right. So we talked about this, that we need a healthy balance. And basically this is, there's ways to test that. We can get blood testing to see if we have a healthy ratio. It's relatively inexpensive. And you can also tell from blood tests, basically, if there's markers showing that if you have high levels of inflammation in the blood, basically showing if your body's in an inflamed state. Not to mention if you have any of the things that I mentioned before, like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, previous cancers, autoimmune disorders, diabetes, obesity, history of heart attack, stroke, or even in your family genetically. These are, definite markers for inflammation. So that's telling you that your body's in an inflamed state, and you shouldn't wait to, have these things go off the wall or until you get a disease process. There's things you can do today, or even to fully get checked, to the level of what you have inflammation and what it's like. As well as we're going to talk about the spine and how that relates to the spine and the nervous system, as what I focus on as a chiropractor. And we're going to focus on basically joint disease, disc degeneration, degeneration, osteoporosis, muscular degeneration or tightness, and how that all is impacted by inflammation. Okay. So unwanted fat and obesity. Okay. So a lot of the fat cells, they're storing toxins in your body. Okay. So if you have excess fat, basically this is an area where your body is harboring a lot of waste materials, a lot of harmful chemicals in your body. And basically we need to flush out those chemicals to the body to rid those toxins to be continually kind of regenerating itself. And so if you have a lot of obesity or unwanted fat, this is going to cause your hormone imbalances. We see today that a lot of men that are overweight, they develop breast tissue, they have excess estrogen, which is a female hormone, and decreased testosterone, which is predominantly a male hormone. So it's bringing their body out of balance. And all the hormones are regulated by the brain. And basically, if we don't have the proper lifestyle factors, it's going to mess up those hormones, and it's not going to, and that inflammation is going to surge that process too. it's going to be pro-inflammatory. So if you're overweight, it's going to increase that inflammation process. It's not going to be a normal process, and it's going to cause chronic diseases over time. So obesity is an underlying factor in a lot of chronic diseases that manifest either right now in that person or further down the line. That's why a lot of obese people get heart attacks and strokes and diabetes, because that's like a prerequisite for it. Okay, so now this is also affecting, let me just go back a step. So I just want to make sure I explain this accurately and correctly. So acute inflammation is like when you get an injury, right? That's like when you sprain your ankle, you get a fracture, it gets pain or swelling in the area, redness, edema. And basically that's a healthy process, because toxins and local chemicals and platelets, they're going to come to that area. They're going to create a scab. They're going to start that healing process. You know, if I cut my skin right here and it starts to bleed, basically the body is going to be in a state where, okay, we need to repair this arm because the body's healthy. So the body's intelligent. It wants to make sure it starts a repair process. And that's acute inflammation. And basically the body is trying everything it can to repair the body so that it can heal naturally. And so that's a normal process. But chronic inflammation is when your body starts to do that over long periods of time, that it's constantly trying to heal, constantly trying to bring the healing process to an area that's not healing. That's when it's going to be under a state of stress. And over time, that's going to cause the body to break down, because during chronic inflammation, basically you're releasing a lot of stress chemicals and hormones. Your body's in a constant state of stress, you know? So we all know when we're under stress, it doesn't feel good, right? We're stressed out, we're, you know, maybe annoyed, we're frustrated, where we feel a lot of pressure. Now picture that in our body going on for years and years and years. It's going to release cortisol, which is going to break down the bones in our body. It's going to increase our sugar levels. Our body's going to constantly be in a state of trying to like survival mode to heal ourselves, instead of being into like we're able to rest and digest, because it's constantly trying to do everything it can to allow the body to sustain life and make sure that you don't die. And so cardiovascular health is basically chronic inflammation in the cardiac system. What that will affect is your heart health. It's going to affect the blood vessels. You know, you see this picture, this is plaquing right here, okay? It's going to cause excess fat and debris to build up in the blood vessels, and it's going to start to break the blood vessel down. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, the pressure of the blood pulsing through the arteries and the veins, it's going to be too much, where it's going to kind of expand. It's going to slow certain processes down, and that's going to cause problems over time. Joint health. So we touched about this before. Joint pain, swelling, arthritis, degeneration. This is going to affect your performance, your recovery times. If you ever work out and you realize, oh man, it's normal to be sore after a workout, but if you're sore for weeks, or anything you do, if you walk, you're sore, or constantly you're waking up and your body's sore and your joints are experiencing joint pain, this is not good, because your body's telling you, anytime you have any of these symptoms, it's your body telling you, hey, what's going on? Pay attention. Something's not right. That makes sense? Okay. Brain health. So inflammation affects your brain, okay? It's going to affect the brain synapses. It's going to affect pediatric development. You know, a lot of these kids, they're experiencing asthma, chronic ear infections. They're experiencing ADHD, ADD, because this inflammation processes in their body aren't being regulated properly. And so a lot of these early kind of onset diseases are taking place, where the kids aren't able to concentrate, they aren't able to sleep, they're kind of going all over the place because their body can't self-regulate. It's under too much stress, and they don't know how to express it. So they just kind of act crazy. And so we have to look out for that, because we want to take good care of our kids. Mood disorders, depression, anxiety, senile memory disorders, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. These are all indications of long-term brain inflammation. Okay, so symptoms. Symptoms are so important because it's your body telling you what's going on, to really it's alerting you that there's a problem, we need to pay attention. So symptoms and pain are good because it's an alarm system of our body. And so in our country, basically, if we feel signs and symptoms, what are normal, well, not normal, what our common response is, we'll take a pill or medication. You know, I don't want to feel this hurts, this isn't real, right? We'll go to the doctor. A doctor often prescribe medications to treat something. And really, that's not, you know, looking at the cause of the problem. And over time, if we just mask up the symptoms of what's going on in our body, these processes, or if we shut off the pain receptors, it's going to lead to disabling disabilities and premature death, because anything that we repress becomes worse. We need to deal with the cause of what's going on so we can realize where it's coming from and how we can heal it, not, you know, what we can do to take care of it. And anytime basically we're more proactive about our health, we have more awareness, we're getting more education like we are today, we can grow, we can do things that are going to be healthier for ourselves, and we can live at a high level of wellness. So either you're going this way on the chart, you're increasing life and wellness and health. You're either evolving or you're revolving. You're either going forward or you're going backwards, and backwards is the way the premature, you know, disease and death. And so symptoms will tell you what direction you're heading. So if you're experiencing a lot of the things that I'm mentioning today, it should tell you or indicate you, hey, what direction is my body going in? What do I have to do to change it? Okay, so we talked about that. And I spoke about this before. A dangerous belief is drugs work. Medicine is important because it saves lives. It helps, you know, people prolong their life, but it's not necessarily causing you to be healthier. You know, a good example is if you gave a healthy person, completely healthy, if you gave them medication, would it make them healthier or sicker? It would probably make them sicker, because why would they need it in the first place? Anytime you take a medication, it has chemicals in it. It has things that are disrupting all the processes in your body, all the hormonal processes. And so it's going to affect something. Any process is going to throw you off. It's a chemical that you're putting into your body that's man-made. And so when you're on drugs long-term, basically it has serious repercussions that it can start to break down the body over time. So the goal is that the body should work perfectly and naturally without outside intervention. So medicine is good because it saves lives. When you break an arm, when you have when you need a serious medical intervention, it can really save your life, and it's really good. Thank God for medicine. But in a day-to-day lifestyle basis, drugs basically are popping, you know, Tylenol or Advil or ibuprofen. It's not going to be conducive to allowing you to prolong your life. It's actually going to break it down. So same thing when you give a sick person medicine, same thing with how a healthy person that made the medication made them sicker. Sick person, it's not going to make them any healthier, you know, and I don't believe that a lot of times it's going to cause the body to cure or stop the cause of what was making it be unhealthy in the first place. So this is just an indication of basically, you know, anytime you see a pill bottle, or anytime you hear a commercial on TV recommending this medication, at the end, they say really fast, you know, this medication side effects are, you know, it can cause all these side effects and diarrhea and throwing up and, you know, pain and swelling and inflammation and all this stuff. And basically this is an indication of when you take something. I take an aspirin for a headache caused by Zyrtec. I take for a hay fever I got from Relenza. For the uneasy stomach from the Ritalin, I take for the short attention span caused by the Scopoderm. I take for the motion sickness I got from the Lomotil. I take for the diarrhea caused by the Xenical. For the uncontrolled weight gain, for the Paxil, I take for the anxiety from the Zocor. I take for my high cholesterol, because exercise, a good diet, regular chiropractic care, and are just not too much trouble. So this is basically a dramatic illustration of anytime a lot of times people are taking one medication, then it causes another side effect. They're taking another medication to deal with that, to deal with another one. And it's just crazy. And a lot of people are on a lot of medications, which It's not uncommon for me to see people in the office that are on over 10 medications that are, dealing with different side effects and different symptoms. And so when we address the root cause, it's a lot easier to help people to get back to health. Okay, so omega-6s, omega-6s in themselves are not bad. A lot of things naturally have omega-6s, but when the proportion is out of control or out of balance, that's when it's going to cause problems. So omega-6, basically, these are found in grain, corn, grain-fed animal protein. So basically, GMO is a genetic modified organism, okay? All in the country of corn, soy, and wheat is genetically modified, which basically means that they took a seed that they genetically engineered and they made it so that it would be resistant against a lot of pesticides and chemicals, and it would grow bigger and stronger. And basically it's a man-made food substance in the seeds. And that's what a lot of our produce, mostly that's not organic, is coming from. And that's caused a lot of health issues in our diet in our country. A lot of other countries like Europe, they don't allow genetically modified organisms. But in our country, a lot of the major seed operations like Monsanto and a lot of other basically farming operations, they've created huge farms that use these seeds because they give incentives to use them. And so basically now another problem is all the animals, like all the cows and chickens, they're eating where they used to eat grass-fed. They used to be on a grass-fed diet, eating on the plains and eating naturally. Now they're just eating this genetically modified corn, wheat, and soy. And so basically when we eat a steak, right, we're eating basically what the steak breaks down to is all these genetically modified corn and grain and soy. And so we're eating exactly what the cow ate and all the bad stuff there. And so that has a lot of omega-6s in it, okay? Vegetable oils, that when you eat potato chips, right, they're cooked in sunflower, safflower oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil. When you go to a restaurant, they fry foods. A lot of the time they're using these vegetable oils. A lot of the things in packaged foods that we eat are using a lot of these oils, and soy and canola oil. So these are heavy with omega-6s. I would avoid a lot of these foods because this is going to increase your omega-6 intake. Now, omega-3 is a way to substitute to get more omega-3s, essential fatty acids. So cold water, wild fatty fish. You don't want to eat farm-raised fish because they're feeding them a lot of the GMO foods. If you ate farm-raised salmon, farm-raised other fish, they're going to throw all these food into the space, farm lake that the fish are feeding in, and basically they're going to eat the same stuff that you're trying to avoid. So you want to eat cold water fatty fish. A good example is wild salmon, wild cod, sardines, anchovies, as well as grass-fed meat. Grass-fed meat means basically the cows are pasteurizing wildly on the farm. And also grass-fed game, grass-fed free-range eggs is when the chickens are roaming free. They're not cooped up in these small chicken cages. They're roaming free. They're eating whatever they want, getting the natural nutrients from the earth. And as well as you want to get flax, hemp, and walnuts. That's really good. And fish oil supplements. It's basically, you can supplement your diet with fish oils. It's important to get good sources. I get the best, sources of fish oils and supplementation. You can also eat, what's it called? Not only flaxseed, but chia seeds. There you go. Chia seeds are really good. And natural proteins. This is all going to be really good for your diet to build up your omega-3 fatty acid content. Okay, so what if I told you that your body has the ability to heal from any of these conditions? Anything that I mentioned today, I'm here to show you your body can naturally heal from it. So an improper belief or a dangerous belief is that there's nothing that could be done. And I believe that's a self-limiting belief, because your body can heal from anything. There's always options. I'm here to empower you and teach you that there's always, a way that you can reverse or turn around any sort of disease process. So what can I do to fix it? So, and I bet all of you know someone that is suffering from any of these diseases, right? Or died from these diseases. Think about your family. Think about your immediate family, your parents, your grandparents. How many diseases that we spoke about, how they're affecting not only your family, your community, your friends, but the country, the world. And so I want to help reduce that. I want to help give people changes so that, people know what to do, where to turn from, because common belief, common conception, common information out there is not really giving you the tools to heal from it. And so diet, lifestyle changes. You want to basically reduce fast white carbs. And so you want to take out of your diet breads, grains, cereals, sugar. These are all basically the same wheat, GMOs. Is going to increase a lot of sugar in your diet. So as much as you can, there's healthy grains you can do, like quinoa or whole grain, natural breads or organic stuff, or seeded wilds grains I think are good, organic rice. But a lot of basically processed foods are going to include a lot of those grains that are not good. Reduce omega-6 vegetable oil intake, we talked about. Add grass-fed beef and free-range eggs, we talked about that. Increase colorful fruits and vegetables, because these are adding antioxidants, which are anti-inflammatory. So a lot of red berries and fruits and vegetables, green leafy vegetables, these are going to have anti-inflammatory substances, which are called antioxidants. They fight free radicals, which basically are going to cause inflammation in your body. So they help reverse a lot of the inflammation processes. And you can add supplementation to your diet to help basically get you on track to increase more omega-3s and help the inflammation. Examples of supplementation are turmeric. You can add basically CoQ10, which is a healthy precursor to fight inflammation, as well as I have other things I can get you guys, handouts, and email me if you have any questions. I can get you more of those resources. There's another one. It's found in red wine. It is, what's it called? It's a substance in red wine that basically you can supplement with that also. That's going to increase your ability for your body to fight off inflammation. So diet and lifestyle changes. So basically all the inflammation is caused by stress, physical, chemical, emotional stresses. Now, what can we do to fix it? We can do diet style changes. So, we do this. Okay. Okay, yeah. So we talked about all the stuff that we could do. This is a supplement. Green smoothies are really good. Juices are really great. Basically, more fiber content. Fiber is fruits and vegetables, what they break down to. Your body can't digest that a lot, but it's going to help clear your intestinal tract out, clear out a lot of toxins, help you have normal, help your body with the ability to, excrete normally, to get rid of a lot of stuff. So get rid of a lot of those excess sugars. So that's really good. And it's going to help your body reset. I think it's really, really good for you to do a cleanse once in a while. I fast, which is really good too. Every Monday I fast for the day. It just gives your body a chance to reset. Cancer cells, they grow from sugar, right? So they're malfunctioning cells that basically they're going to get their fuel from sugar. So when you can decrease your sugar content, and by fasting, you can just allow the body to just not to decrease that sugar content and allow those cells to basically clear out, because your cells are constantly regenerating. So when you can allow those cells to clear out and regenerate new cells, it's going to help your body reset and kind of start from a neutral place where it's less inflamed. So stress comes from thoughts, toxins, and traumas, which is basically physical, chemical, emotional stresses from our body. And so with our lifestyle, we can stop a lot of those stresses. We can stop doing things that are creating stress in our life, and we can do things that are going to create or de-stress our life. So let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, so now these physical stresses, they're going to demineralize the bone. You know, when we're stressed out, it increases that cortisol I talked about. That's a hormone. And that's going to basically increase the sugar in our blood. That's going to decrease the mineralization in our bone. It's going to cause osteoporosis. Sedentary lifestyle, you know, everybody's sitting all day. You're sitting all day for work, for school, or kids are sitting all day. So the sedentary lifestyle, it's not going to allow your body to thrive. You got to move around. You got to shake it up. You got to exercise, because that's going to allow your body to become stronger, healthier, allow your spine to move better. And if you don't use it, you're losing it. So sedentary lifestyle are going to cause extra fat and not allow you to thrive. It's going to cause sleep disorders too. You know, if you're not sleeping well, your body's not able to relax and rest, and it's going to be under more stress. Smoking, you know, smoking is going to cause a lot of inflammation. Doing drugs, same thing, causing a lot of stress in your body. Also, if you're under a lot of, it kind of go hand in hand, right? If you're under emotional stress, it's going to cause physical stress, chemical stress. Emotions, basically, they're biochemicals in your body, right? Every time you have an emotion, it's going to cause chemicals in your brain to think a certain way. And so that's going to affect how you feel. Maybe it's not going to make you want to work out or do things, or so this is kind of cyclical. One affects the other, right? And so our emotions are so important to our health. And if we don't have healthy emotions, it's going to cause more stress in our life. So dangerous belief, your problems will go away if you ignore them. Whatever feelings buried alive never die. Whatever you repress is going to not going away. It's going to actually get worse. So that's why it's so important if you have a problem that you address it right on, because if you ignore it, it's going to only get worse over time. Okay, so I want to share some other stuff with you. Let me just go to my screen. Hold on one second. Okay. Stop share. Okay. You guys doing okay?
Yep.
All right, great. All right, so I'm going to answer everyone's questions at the end. If you have questions, just be patient. I'm almost done. I want to go over with you basically how this all ties into the nervous system, and basically how your body can decrease stress, okay? So let me share my screen with you again. Okay, can you guys all see this chart?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. All right. So this is basically a picture of the nervous system, okay? Now, stress is going to slow the healing process down. That's why it's so important for your body to be more adaptable, because when you're in a state of stress or dis-ease, dis/ease, basically it's going to cause your body to break down. And over time, this is going to cause weakness of the systems. And so as a chiropractor, I'm focusing on working with people's nerve system, okay? The nervous system is basically a connection. If you can see the brain up here, that flows into the brain stem right here, basically the bottom portion of the brain, and that goes into the spinal cord. And the spinal cord is located inside of the spine, okay? And basically the connection outside of the spinal cord, you see these connections, these yellow connections going to the organs. Those are the nerves, okay? And the nerves connect to the organs, to every cell, tissue, and organ in the body. And that's called the nervous system. It's the brain stem, the spinal cord, and the nerves connecting to every cell, tissue, and organ. Let me just grab some real quick. I want to show you the spine, okay? Now, as a chiropractor, I'm checking the spine because this is integral to the nerve system. It's basically the communication between the brain and the body. The skull is encased in bone because it protects our brain, okay? And inside the bones of the spine, this is the bones, right? The head up here, the pelvis down here. Now, this is basically protecting the spinal cord, okay? And these green things right here, these are the nerve connections. Now the nerve connections are, like I said, are going to the major organs, okay? So now what I'm doing is I teach people that the foundation of your health is built around the nerve system, okay? If your nerve system isn't functioning the way it's supposed to, your body isn't going to be as healthy ever as it could possibly be, because the nerve system is the master control system. It's controlling everything in the body. The brain sends messages down the spinal cord through here to the nerves to every part of our body. So when we want to do something, right? When we want to move our arm, the brain will send a message, move the arm, we'll get it instantaneously, and the arm will move, and then nerves from the arm will come back to the brain through the spine and let our brain know that the arm moved. And our bodies are so intelligent that it's doing this in you can't even imagine how fast it's doing this and how many processes it's doing at once. The brain and the nerve system is a super control computer. It's smarter than anything you can imagine. It's the smartest and most elaborate chemical factory that you've ever known. And our bodies are so intelligent, they're so amazing. And so that's basically how our body works. Brain sends messages down to the body receives it, sends messages back to the brain. Now, if our body isn't functioning the way it's supposed to, if our nervous system is out of balance, it's going to affect basically every process in the body, okay? And so my job as a chiropractor is to check the spine, because I want to make sure these connections to each part of the body are working at 100%. Now, if you have a misalignment in your spine, or what I call a subluxation, sub is less, lux is light or information. It's basically a condition of less information flowing through your body at any time. That's going to cause the body to break down over time. And so a lot of people come in with pain, right? Let me tell you, pain is the last thing to show up and the first thing to leave. Often when people have had pain, it means that there's been, breakdown of at least 60% of that communication in the nerve system over a long period of time before you even felt it. And so this is what's happening. When you have a subluxation, picture it like pressure or stress in the system, okay? I'm going to picture it like a rubber band like this, okay? Now, this is like the nerve, okay? Now, if there's a subluxation or pressure on this nerve going to the heart or going to the lungs, is the heart going to work better or worse? It's going to work worse, right? Now, over time, let's say we left that a year, 2 years, 5 years. What's the condition of the heart look like now? And what's the condition of the heart and all the organs that the heart's supplying, all the blood flow in the body? It's going to be worse. Now, what if you left it on for 20 years, 30 years? The body starts to break down when it doesn't have proper nerve flow. So, we can exercise and we can eat right and we can think well and we can, do all these things and take supplements.
Oh, you froze.
There's basically the body's going to start to break down. The body's going to start to break down over time. And so what we have to do is basically, as a chiropractor, I check the spine because I want to release these subluxations. I want to release that pressure and stress so the body can start to bring back life and start to heal naturally. The body is so intelligent and smart that we have a natural healing life energy within us. And it's constantly working to allow our body to heal and function. It's like we don't have to think about how much our heart beating all day or our lungs retaining oxygen or clearing it out. We don't have to think about regulating our blood pressure or our heat temperature. We don't have to think about when we have a cut, we don't tell our body heal right now, it just does it naturally. The body knows how to heal. It just needs no interference. And so when there's interference in the nerve system, when there's misalignments in the nerve system causing pressure, not allowing that life flow to flow from the brain to the body, that's breaking down the body's processes. It's blocking that life flow from flowing. And that's not allowing the body to thrive. And over time, it's causing dis-ease and disease processes. And that's basically ties into inflammation, because if the nerve system can't regulate and can't adapt, you're going to be in a state of inflammation. And when it can't regulate, when it can't heal properly, it's not going to be able to heal up from that inflammation. And so that is basically the importance of the nerve system. Okay. Let me just make sure I touch on everything there. And just like this, just when I go like this and I put a little pressure, or when I go like this, you can see basically the color changes in my hand. Think about the stresses in your spine and your body, okay? If there's pressure, if there's stresses leading to different organs, it's gonna affect the blood flow, just a little bit, a few millimeters of tension, just like how I would kind of on my eye. That's causing that blood flow to stop. Imagine how much stress and pressure, if that's affecting the organs of your body, what that's doing to your body over time. And this is why the reason why we have so much diseases and so much breakdown is because people don't know about the importance of their nerve system and get their spine checked. And just like you go to the dentist and you get your teeth checked, you want to because you want to make sure there's no cavities and there's no plaquing, and because your mouth is a major source of infection. And if your mouth is decaying, it's sending a lot of bacteria to your heart and cardiac system. You can replace your teeth, but you can never replace your spine. You have one spine, you have one brain for life, and you got to make sure that it's the healthiest, because if you don't, the body's going to break down, sooner than it should. Let me show you some more pictures, okay? All right, so let me show you this. Okay, so this picture right here, can you see the picture of, hold on one second. Can you see this picture of vertebral subluxation nerve chart? Can you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is basically an illustration of how every level of the spine is connected basically to parts of your body. And if there's problems with that nerve communication, it can create possible symptoms. So for instance, if you have a problem with the top bone in your neck, this bone right here, it's called C1, it's called the atlas. It's one of the most important bones of the spine because that's where the brainstem is. That can cause headaches, inflammation of the brain, basically causing a headache. It can cause nervousness, anxiety, insomnia, high blood pressure, chronic tiredness, breakdown, nervousness. If you have a subluxation of T1, or the first bone in the thoracic spine, it goes the cervical, thoracic, lumbar. That can cause problems in the heart, the lungs, asthma, coughing, difficulty breathing, shortness of breath. So everything is connected in your spine. And this is just an illustration of how every level of the spine connects to different nerves that connect to different possible symptoms that you could be having if there's problems in your spine. Let me show you another picture. Okay, so this is an illustration of subluxation, okay? Basically, the left is normal. We have the vertebrae, which is the bone. The disc is like the cushion, in your shoes, how you basically have the cushion underneath. That's like the disc. It basically cushions the bones of the spine. These are the discs right here, okay? This yellow thing is the nerve, and basically these are the joints that connect the bones. And so when it's subluxated, you see how this disc right here becomes a little fat. This is basically an inflammation process long-term of a swollen disc. Okay, if the spine isn't moving properly, if it's locked up, the disc isn't going to be able to get the correct nutrients, and it's basically going to put pressure on it. And this is when you hear a lot of herniated discs or ruptured discs that people get surgeries for that completely were preventable because of, if you got this checked or basically got it naturally corrected, that spinal misalignment from a chiropractor, this could help that swollen disc. And you see basically that inflamed joint over here, the nerve interference causing inflammation in the nerve. Another huge point is that the nerve system, you can only feel less than 10% of it, okay? 90% of your nerve system you can't feel. An example is like you can't feel your brain working. You can't feel your body creating new red blood cells. You can't, feel your body creating hormones and, processes going in and out of the cells. You can't feel a lot of the processes in your body. And so you only feel 10%. 90% of this stuff is you can't feel it. That's why it's so important to get checked by a chiropractor, because we can tell you exactly what's going on. And so this nerve interference, this is going to cause a lot of pain that people start to feel like, oh, I have a slip disc or something just happened. You know, I woke up today and I slept wrong and now I feel it. Well, this process has been going on for a long time. You know, I ask people, is it an event or is it a process? And basically the point is that it's a process going on for a long time. And so this is what a subluxation looks like. I just wanted to show that to you. Let me show you one more picture. Okay, now this basically is a process. Can you guys see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Normal textbook spine, and as the spine starts to break down from misalignments or subluxations, it goes to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. The bones start to basically reshape from the pressure, the discs get smaller, the nerves get smaller. And a lot of times people don't even feel this. I've seen people in the office that, excuse me, they feel great, nothing's wrong. We look at their spine, it looks really bad because they don't feel a lot of this degeneration, inflammation process happening over decades. There's other people that they feel awful. They come into the office and their spine is nearly not that broken down, but they're just more sensitive. They can feel that. So you see how the bones in phase 2, they start to create irregular shapes. The disc starts to really narrow down. The nerve gets smaller. And basically phase 3 is like the bones start to fuse. The disc just basically gets obliterated. And that's definitely creating interferences in how that nerve is processing information, sending that information to different parts of the body, and it's breaking down over time. So I know I'm nearing up my time, so I just want to be conscious. And so basically, that brings us back to the nervous system right here. Can you guys see the nervous system picture? Or no?
No.
Okay, I got to reach. Okay, here you go.
There we
So back to this. So that's why it's so important to get your spine checked and get your nerve system checked, because we can tell you exactly what the state of your nerve system is. Is it affecting different organs, different systems in your body? What's the state of the spine and how that's affecting your life? And I guarantee you, a lot of the people, you know, the issues there, the chronic inflammatory processes that are going on in your life or people's life that come in, they're directly connected to your spine. You know, there's a study, a research study that this medical doctor, he wanted to understand, you know, how chiropractic works. So he looked at cadavers or deceased people's spines, and he saw that every major curvature, every bone, every nerve that was breaking down, that was decaying, was connected. That nerve was connected to a diseased organ. So he saw that wherever there was disease processes in the spine, wherever there's inflammation, breakdown, decay of the joints, decay of the nerve and the disc, that was directly impacting every single organ that it connected to. And that's how disease processes are happening. You know, diseased livers and kidneys and gallbladders, it's directly affected to your spine. And so let me tell you a quick story, okay? So the reason I do this talk is not only to impact your lives. You know, I know you guys could be doing a million other things right now, and I'm not just doing this for my health on a Tuesday afternoon, is because I want to change people's lives. I'm on a mission to do that. And I'm reminded of my grandpa that, you know, I love dearly, my grandpa, Leon, and he was just so awesome. He was amazing. He was such a great guy. And he was a hard worker. He was a businessman. He had a family business, and, you know, I loved him so much, but, you know, he was always providing for the family, and he was always working all the time and didn't really take great care of his health. And he suffered because of that, because, you know, towards the end of his life, throughout his life, he lived with gout. He lived with diabetes. He was overweight. He was jovial and happy, but, you know, he suffered from back pain, and he didn't really walk too well, and he was sedentary, and he couldn't move or do the things that he wanted to do because he didn't live a lifestyle of health. And that cost him, because he suffered towards the end of his life. He had pleurisy, which is basically congestion and fluid in the lungs. He had cardiac disease. He had gout. He's just suffered a lot of pain. And towards the end of his life, he lived in a hospital. He had a lot of hospital bills. He spent a lot of money on aides and, you know, nurses and helpers. in his home to help him stay healthy, whereas this could have been all avoided. And he died 20 years younger than he should have. He died in his early 80s. I believe that people, were designed according to current research to live till 120. And so he died young and he suffered a lot, and he spent a lot of his hard-earned income unnecessarily on medical bills. And so this hurts my heart, because how many of us have grandpas or grandparents that died too young, or parents, or people that we know are suffering in the community? And I wish I could have had my grandpa longer. I wish that my grandpa could have worked less and taken care of his health and invested in his health so that he could have lived a better life later. Who doesn't want that there for their family? And so I'm reminded of that, because I carry a burden, and I want more people's lives to be healthy. And so basically, another fact I want to tell you is that the biggest cause of bankruptcy in the country is from people that are caused bankruptcy from unnecessary health interventions, surgeries, basically heart attacks, medications that could have been prevented. So that's, and most of those people had insurance. So the insurance still didn't cover them from all of the medical intervention that they had to have. So the lifestyle, just to sum up, basically the lifestyle changes that we have is physical, chemical, emotional. We can do things to move well, think well, eat better, lifestyle, and that can decrease a lot of the inflammation. And what I want to do is, I have an offer for you guys, is that I want everybody with the ability to get their spine checked. For you being on this call today, you have a complimentary consultation to come into my office, and we can see exactly if you're suffering from inflammation, where it's coming from, the extent to it, and what we can do to recommend for your body to be, to help you with that. And so chiropractic is an amazing solution to help decrease the body's inflammation, because it helps your body to heal naturally. So everyone on this call today, you get a complimentary invitation to come into the office to get checked, so we can show you exactly what your spine looks like. And that's basically my talk. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I thank you so much for being here. I hope you learned something. And I just want to open up the floor to any questions. I put my information in the chat if you want to reach out to me with any questions, and I'm happy to supply you with any information that we talked about today. And yeah, any questions, I'm here for you.
I'm just going to stop the recording here so that you can open it up to questions.
All right. Thank you, Okaria. Thank you, guys.